Hi, my name's Grania. I'm a compulsive eater. I weigh and measure 3 meals a day from the Gray Sheet, turn those meals over to a qualified Gray Sheet food sponsor. I don't eat no matter what. My abstinence is the most important thing in my life, and my abstinence date is September 16th, 1994. I am a member of the Structure Committee. The Structure Committee is a committee of the World Service Conference, and we conducted GreySheet Counts in 2023. So this presentation presents the results of the GreySheet Counts project, which is our project to connect and count us around the world. And we do it to celebrate our 25th anniversary as a 12-step fellowship. We were founded on April 6, 1998. In 2017, the board adopted a proposal to celebrate our 20th year as a 12-step fellowship by conducting GreySheet Counts. And we were going to serve our primary purpose of carrying the message, the GreySheet message that there is a solution to compulsive eating, by showing how many people around the world weighed and measured their food from the Gray Sheet and how long we had been free from compulsive eating. And the third purpose of the project was to give all of us an opportunity to connect with each other through the GSA phone list. The GSA phone list was a project of an individual volunteer in Gray Sheet for many years, and when she became unavailable to keep up the phone list, World Services kept getting requests from people for the phone list to be revived. And so we saw GreySheet Counts as a way to make contact with every Gray Sheeter around the world and offer them the opportunity to opt into the phone list. So in 2017, from October 2017 to March of 2018, we collected the names and email addresses and phone numbers of every possible Gray Sheeter we could. We reached out to groups, intergroups, and roundup and retreat committees, and we put all those names and numbers together. We emailed them all monthly invitations to participate in the project. We called them every month to invite them to participate in the project. We announced the opportunity to participate in GreySheet Counts everywhere we could. To keep up the interest, every month for those 6 months, we reported the interim results. And finally, in April of 2018, we celebrated our 20th anniversary by publishing the results of the GreySheet Counts project. The Board of Trustees adopted the suggestion from the fellowship to repeat the count every 5 years, and the Structure Committee said that they would adopt it as a service that they would provide every 5 years. The key things to remember about GreySheet Counts is that obviously it's voluntary, as is everything in a 12-step program. GreySheet membership only requires a desire to stop eating compulsively. It's confidential in that the results that we report out only include group level data, so by state or by country, by intergroup. We don't report out anybody's individual information. However, it's not an anonymous survey or a simple head count. We do want to find all of our members around the world and connect us all, find out who we are, where we are, and give everybody the opportunity to opt into the phone list. The phone list requires that you provide your name, location, phone, email, and abstinence date, but that part is completely voluntary. Unfortunately, in 2018, we didn't have the resources to translate the form into some of our more popular languages, so it was only available in English. In 2022, the Structure Committee proposed to the World Service Conference that we officially and formally conduct this project every 5 years with the same 3 purposes that we had in 2018, but also to expand it to provide the opportunity to opt in to some other opportunities to do service and connect, And we also said that we would translate it into some of our more popular languages. So we launched the project in April at our April Town Hall, which was when we celebrated our 25th anniversary. It ran for 4 months from April to August. We announced it. We reported the results each month, and we called everybody on the phone list to make sure they knew about the project and give them the opportunity to participate. We did get some feedback, and some of the feedback we received in 2023 was that the shorthand word that we had been using, census, had negative connotations for some people. And also the term census, it seems to imply that it's a count of anonymous members, and that's not accurate. So we are going to be very sure in 2028 to refer to the project as GreySheet Counts, a project to connect and count us around the world, and get rid of the word census. In addition, in 2023, when you logged onto the website to fill out the form, unfortunately, we didn't distinguish the questions that were required, and if you wanted to remain anonymous, you could fill out the required questions and not provide any further information. We didn't distinguish those two types of questions. So in 2028, we're going to clearly separate the required questions from the optional questions that identify people. And finally, the feedback that we received in 2023 seemed to indicate that some people felt that they were being targeted because they hadn't participated. And we want to be sure that when we call people to inform them about the project, that they don't feel that they're being badgered or harangued into participating. So that's all the background about how it came about, and how we did it, and how we're going to do it differently in 2028. What are some of the results? So this slide shows some of the highlights. The bad news is in red, the good news is in green, and the great news is in bold. The bad news is that somehow either our participation rate went down, or we have fewer GreySheeters in the world, because the number of GreySheeters who participated in 2018 was 848, and in 2023 it was down to 748. In 2018, we received feedback that we missed about 150 people. We think that feedback was fairly accurate. In 2023, we have no way of estimating how many people we missed, but we keep hearing from people that they never heard about the project while it was ongoing. So the good news is that we are now in 35 countries as opposed to 22 countries in 2018, and that's primarily because of the number of Spanish-speaking GreySheeters in Latin American countries, where we didn't have any Spanish-speaking GreySheeters in 2018. The amazing news about our program is that if you have at least a year of abstinence, the average number of years of abstinence is 12.5 in 2023, as opposed to 11 years in 2018. I don't think there's a commercial, medical, 12-step nonprofit program out there that can tell people that the average amount of time you'll be free of compulsive eating is 12.5 years. So that's pretty amazing news. And the primary purpose of our fellowship is to support us in being abstinent and carry the message to the newcomer. So are we reaching the newcomer? There are plenty of newcomers in 2018, and there are plenty of newcomers in 2023. We have 214 people in their first year. And do people trust the project? Only 5 people remained totally anonymous in 2018, and only 18 people remained totally anonymous in 2023. So the majority of people who participated were willing to opt in to the phone list and to other service opportunities. 91% opted into the phone list in 2018, pretty much the same in 2023, and then the other opportunities for connecting and doing service We had 89% opted in to being subscribed to Service Matters, our monthly newsletter. 80% opted in to being an area contact by putting their name, location, and email address on the website. 59% wanted to join our Facebook group to get service-related announcements. 37% said they wanted to be contacted about other kinds of service like participating on a committee, writing literature, building our website, becoming a delegate to the conference, serving as a GSR, etc. And we asked the question, would you be willing to answer demographic type questions like ethnicity and age and gender in a future census? Because people had suggested we ask those questions this year, but other people had strong feelings that we should not ask those questions. So we asked participants to let us know how they felt about that, and 84% said they would be willing to answer those kinds of questions. Nobody opted out of future contact from World Services, so that was amazing. In terms of where are we, in 2018, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There were 11 areas in 2018 which had more than 25 GreySheeters. Our top 10 areas in 2023 have some similarities to 2018 in that New York is still #1, Israel, California, Texas, Florida, England, Iceland are in the top 5, but in bold, what you see is some of the Spanish-speaking countries, which in 2018 had 0 GreySheeters, and in 2023 are in the top 10 locations for GreySheeters. So Mexico, Spain, Colombia, Dominican Republic. It's absolutely amazing how many people are doing GreySheet in Latin America and Spanish-speaking countries. Let's look more closely at different locations. In North America in 2018, we had 665 people in 51 states, territories, and provinces, including Mexico and Canada and the Caribbean. In 2023, the unfortunate news is that we are down by 155 to 510 GreySheeters in 41 states, territories, and provinces. In Europe in 2018, including Iceland, we had 125 GreySheeters in 14 countries. That is up to 133 GreySheeters in 18 countries in 2023. 2018 in Iceland, there were 57 GreySheeters in 7 of their 9 regions. Despite making the form available in Icelandic, participation decreased by 20 people, and there are now only 37 GreySheeters in 6 regions. In Israel in 2018, we had 47 GreySheeters, and that hasn't changed much in 2023. Despite having the form available in Hebrew, the participation was basically flat. Outside of our hotspots, Iceland, Israel, North America, and Europe, we had 11 GreySheeters in Africa, Asia, Australia, and the Middle East in 2018, but we were down by 4 to just 7 GreySheeters in Australia, Hong Kong, South Africa, and Singapore in 2023. The good news, the wonderful news, the amazing news is that we can now put a map of Latin America on the GreySheet map because we now have 86 participants in Latin American countries and 18 Spanish-speaking GreySheeters in Spain. So going from almost 0 to 104 Spanish-speaking GreySheeters around the world, including 7 in the US. So we put in a huge amount of effort to make the form available in our 3 most populous languages. I want to give a big thank you to Jami and Miguel in Spain for translating it into Spanish, and a huge thank you to Ofer and Michael in Israel who translated the form into Hebrew, and to Gula in Iceland who created our Icelandic form. Looking more closely at the different intergroups in North America, this is New York Metro Intergroup in 2018, 141 GreySheeters in 7 boroughs and counties. That is down to 125 in 7 boroughs and counties in 2023. In Connecticut, there were 37 GreySheeters in 4 of the 7 counties in 2018, and that is down to 28 in 5 counties in 2023. The Western States Intergroup was 129 people in 8 states. Despite expanding the intergroup to include 2 Canadian provinces, the Western States Intergroup counted 42 fewer people for a total of 87 in 2023. The Northeast Intergroup was 107 people in 11 states and territories in 2018, and it is down to 92 people in 11 states, territories, and Canadian provinces. So the Northeast Intergroup expanded to include 6 different provinces, but there are no GreySheeters in those provinces. There is an error on here on the map. Maryland is included on the map, but it's not included in the count. So Maryland is actually a member of the Southern Central Intergroup. In 2018, there were 74 people in the Midwest Intergroup area. There were 65 in the Southwest Intergroup area, and there were 85 in the Southeast Intergroup area. So in 2018, the total for those 3 areas was 224 people in 25 states and territories. All of those areas combined in 2023 to form the Southern and Central Intergroup, and they expanded to include 2 Canadian provinces. And the numbers still dropped down to 173 people in 21 states, territories, and provinces, down by 51. The second question we asked in the project is, how long have you been abstinent, or what is your abstinence state? And in 2018, you can see in this funnel graph that we had decreasing numbers of people. There were 107 people in their first 90 days, 185 in their first year, 161 people in their first 4 years, and then each 5-year increment, there were fewer and fewer people. We had 4 participants who were in the 40 to 45 year range of abstinence. The 2023 numbers are quite different, and the first 2 bars are an artifact of the project. So we had putting in your abstinence date was required, but several people put in their birth date instead of their abstinence date. So we have 4 people for whom we don't know their abstinence date. And we didn't analyze the data until December. So by then, the people who had been in their first 90 days were now into their first 3, 4, 5, 6 months. So the number of people in their first 90 days was only 4. So what's really different here is that there are a lot of people in their first year, even more in their first 5 years, and then this tremendous drop-off when you get to 6 years and above. The good news at the very bottom is that we now have 1 person who participated who has more than 45 years. So if we lay these charts over each other, you see that drop-off that occurs around the 6-year mark. Now, that may be because there aren't GreySheeters staying abstinent beyond 5 years. It could be because we didn't reach the GreySheeters in their mid-years of abstinence. Since our primary purpose is to stay abstinent and carry the message to the next compulsive eater, we wanted to know how people find GreySheet. So this is very consistent. In 2018, 60% said they found GreySheet from another GreySheeter. 23% said they found us in another 12-step program. It's very similar in 2023. 61% found us from talking to another person, and 21% found us in another 12-step fellowship. Negligible amounts of people find us through the internet or through literature or social media or a healthcare provider, etc. Based on people's first names, we took a guess at gender in 2018, and it was 91% female. It's pretty much the same in 2023. Now that we have more international members, it's harder for us to determine the gender. So we had 2% who were unknown, but still mostly women in the program. In 2018, we wanted to look at the health of our groups and how well we were serving the primary purpose in terms of providing meetings for GreySheeters to go to support their abstinence and for newcomers to find the solution. So this chart shows the number of face-to-face or in-person meetings and the number of video meetings in each intergroup area. The lower the number in the last column, the greater the number of meetings for people to choose from. So in 2018, we were mostly going to in-person meetings. There were very few Zoom meetings at the time. So in the New York Metro Intergroup, for example, there were 30 different meetings every week for 133 GreySheeters, so there were a lot of meetings per GreySheeter. Some of the other intergroups had a lot fewer meetings per GreySheeter. By 2023, of course, this is the international numbers, so you could see that each of the international intergroups was doing about the same. Things changed between 2018 and 2023. In 2020, we had the pandemic, and most of our in-person meetings stopped meeting, and we transitioned to Zoom, or lots of new Zoom meetings got started. So it wasn't the same in 2023. So instead, we looked at people's home groups. We asked people to identify which group they considered to be their home group, where they went to the meetings regularly, they made financial contributions if they could, they did service, they participated in the meetings. Interestingly enough, 21% of our participants did not identify a home group. Typically, we're not surprised to find that 13% said they considered a group in the New York Metro Intergroup area to be their home group. What is phenomenally interesting is that 11% of our participants said they considered a Spanish-speaking intergroup in La Comunidad Hispana intergroup to be their home group. 9% considered a phone bridge intergroup meeting to be their home group. We can look at this a different way and find out how we're reaching people with meetings. The vast majority of people are attending video meetings, 51%. 20% almost consider an in-person meeting to be their home group. 10% consider a phone group to be their home group. So that's the data. What can we conclude from all this information? Well, the number one most powerful message from the GreySheet Counts project is that if you can get to 1 year of abstinence, you have a high probability of achieving many years of abstinence, because the average length of abstinence for our participants after their first year is 12.5 years. So we have to ask ourselves, how can we use this amazing number to carry the message that there is a solution to compulsive eating? The sad news is that many of our members report that they'd never heard about GreySheet Counts, or that they didn't trust the project and didn't want to participate. So we have to ask ourselves, how can we improve communication within the fellowship so that everybody hears the news? And secondly, how can we build trust and confidence in the people doing service so that those who we want to involve feel comfortable and safe getting involved? People gave reasons for not participating in 2018. They were very similar in 2023, and we considered the suggestions and the feedback that we received in 2018, and we addressed almost all of them in 2023. We want to do the same with your suggestions and questions in 2028. So if you have questions, if you have suggestions, if you have feedback, if you have concerns, please let us know by emailing GreySheetCounts@greysheet.org, and we will incorporate your input into the design of the 2028 GreySheet Counts. Thank you so much for your interest in our project, and please get in touch if you want to be involved in the project in 2028. Thank you.